Welcome back, everybody. Episode 15, Coffee with Cardi. Very excited to have Jack O'Mara on the show. I said it right, Jack. So for anyone who was wondering, it's O'Mara.
Yes.
Not O'Mara or whatever. But pleasure to have you on, Jack. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for having me on.
Always. Jack and I go, way back since as long as I can remember my time at URI. We were on WRIU together. And then just, everything. The Westerners, Danbury Westerners, shout out them. So we've had some experiences together.
Yeah, absolutely. Some that you probably don't want to come out and say on the air, but no, a lot of good times. I think some of the cool things that we were able to do is learn and grow. Doing a lot of the same stuff. Working for different news stations in the state of Rhode Island, interning with them, working with the Westerners, which is an incredible opportunity for those who are interested in journalists, whatever it might be. It's a great route to be a part of a summer collegiate baseball team, like in the NECBL, the Cape Cod League. Just great experiences. So yeah, really I know my sophomore year, your freshman year was like me and you were there through the thick, and we were able to go to some really cool places. To Brooklyn, New York for the A10 tournament. That was awesome.
Yeah.
We went to Mohegan Sun for the West Virginia URI game, and that was awesome. I just remember walking through the casino, the cigar airs everywhere, and we got the equipment like, where the heck's the arena?
No, that was fun, and it was always good to have somebody to laugh at Stone with. So I was like, I can't be the only one who thinks this kid is strange. But
yeah,
no, you're right, exactly. I think definitely I've learned from you and just watching the way you go about your business, especially like you said in the NECBL, because that's a grind. Especially to do 40 plus games, through traveling. Obviously limited resources because it's literally what you bring to it. So it was definitely a good experience to learn and take things away from you there. And I guess we'll start, just with your time at URI, because I know that you were the one, not the odd one out, but you weren't the journalism major like most of us were. You were just strictly communications. But when did you realize that, you wanted to do radio and pursue this type of, pursue it at school?
Yeah, when I was a senior in high school, I was kind of, in the thick of looking for colleges, applying to colleges. And I applied to a lot of schools that had a wide range of majors because I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do at that time. I always had a passion for sports. I knew in the back of my mind that I wanted to get involved in sports some way. And I always tell the joke, I knew I wasn't going to compete professionally. I'm way too short. I'm not as athletically gifted as other people. So I knew that being a professional athlete was never in the cards. And then senior year, it kind of hit me playing football. And I said, I was thinking that thought, I'm never going to do anything really beyond high school competitively. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I love to talk. I love to watch sports. I love the aspect of the broadcast operations, everything that goes into it. This is something that I could really do. And what I would actually do is at all hockey games senior year, I'd be calling the game, and I would get a bunch of weird looks from people around me. They're like, what are you doing, Jack? Why do you just keep talking about the game? You need you're good, but stop it. I'm trying to enjoy. And it was kind of that moment where I was like, wow, I'm pretty good at this. I could really, get involved in this. I did some research, and it all started to click. You have that aha moment, and it just kept building and building and building. And I said, this is what I wanted to do. So from there, I kind of looked and said, what schools are growing essentially in their sports media plans, and who have good radio stations, good communications programs. And URI was kind of on the up and come up. it didn't have the sports media program yet, but the Harrington School is a rising factor. I actually spoke with the director, who was the interim director at the time, Dr. Roth, and he was, very passionate. You could just tell, how involved he was with the program. And I loved Rhode Island. I loved the location of it. I loved how close it was to the beach. It was, affordable for an out-of-state school. It was close enough to home where I could go home if I needed to. And it all just kind of fell into place, which was really cool.
Yeah, that's one thing that I always think about when you talk about in terms of up and coming and, the way things sort of operated at URI was what was so great for us was that the fact that, yes, it was a D1 school. Yes, it had all these resources, but it really wasn't, and this isn't a slight or anything, but it wasn't really operating. So like at WRU, we could basically do, if we had an idea, we were allowed to run with it. And there was no restrictions or no anything that maybe you would have at the Syracuses or the more prestigious schools. So I think that was really what drew me in. And it sounds like it did to you too, just the fact that Ben Kinch, our former sports director, walked up to me and was like, yeah, we'll put you on air freshman year. And that was like, say less. Like that's because like the other schools that I'm sure you went to too was like, yeah, like sophomore, junior year, we'll put you on air. And you're just like, because the best way to grow is literally just to put a mic in front of you and screw up.
Absolutely. Like there are a ton of theories and preparation styles that you can dive into, and you can do your studying and your learning and your reading. What matters is what you do on the mic. That's it right there. You have to get those reps. And I did apply to Syracuse. I did apply to Fordham. And, not only were they arm and a leg expensive, but it was, how quickly can I get involved with the radio station? How quickly can I get involved in different media aspects? And at URI, it was right away. I emailed Sam Murray 2 weeks into my freshman campaign, essentially. And I was like, hey, I'm very interested in becoming a sports broadcaster. Wanted to see what the next steps are to get involved with the radio station. And he was like, well, come in and we'll put you on the broadcast next week. And it was that quickly. I didn't have to audition. I just came in and talked with him and talked about how I felt about it. And you don't get that at other schools. And there's a freedom with WRU. And I think that's what makes it so great is it's kind of weird, but essentially the program is you get thrown to the wind and say, good luck, do your thing. It's a growing experience because you kind of have to teach yourself. And I like that about that. It was different. It was, to be able to broadcast for 4 years. I capped off at 97 career broadcasts at WRU. Wow. I couldn't make the 100. I tried so hard. I tried so hard, but the fact that I had that many calls on the radio, I probably wouldn't have gotten that experience somewhere else.
And exactly, like the fact that the freedom is, like you said, a big part about it. Like, again, because we could have, classes, I guess, quote unquote classes of people telling you, this is how you prepare, this is the words you want to use and whatnot. But like you said, until you're there and you're realizing in your head, like, that's just learning right there. It's like, oh, maybe you say this instead of that. And like, I remember the ESCHL tournament. We was at URI, I believe, my freshman or sophomore year, early on. And they put me on a play-by-play hockey call. And that is – I wasn't good at play-by-play for regular sports, let alone hockey at that point. And it was terrible. But, again, you just learn. You're just like, okay, well, this, like this, that you just learn. And to think, too, at the same time, it's not like WRU is like some terrible, like, small school station. It's literally – we were the only school to go to the NCAA tournament back-to-back years with radio. So that's tooting our own horn there. But no, it's the freedom, and the best way to grow is by doing, not by learning, not by being taught in a classroom or anything. Like your 97 broadcasts, that there's no amount of sitting in a classroom you can sit, it just won't compare at all.
And when you're a freshman, you're not necessarily taking advanced television communication. You're taking Comm 100 and Theater 100. You're not learning, there are some classes where you could take different aspects. Like I took storytelling when I was a sophomore, and that was kind of a helpful aspect to really, I take a lot of that class and I put it into kind of my opens of broadcasts and kind of set the scene. We spent a lot of time doing that. But it was a lot of, okay, I'm broadcasting this day and I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to go back to that same broadcast the day after, listen to my broadcast, make notes, make mental notes, and say that I did well with that. I didn't do well with that. I have to improve on that. And it was kind of like this widespread process that you have to do and you have to commit to in order to better yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. The notion that, because like you said, you were not taking the classes that we per se want to take in your first 2 years. Like right away, you want to jump right in. And and that could sometimes, turn you away or turn certain kids away if, you have this passion, but it gets smothered by, the bureaucracy of class and whatever. But the fact that WRU, the Daily Ram now can give you that outlet, it's really just invaluable, I'd say. And it really was, my 4 years, I loved every WRU broadcast I ever did, good, bad, or ugly. They were all fun.
Because they were great and it was so different. There wasn't somebody poking you, telling you what to do. You worked with so many different characters. I love that about WRU.
Yeah.
It was filled with people from different backgrounds, different interests, different majors, in the sports department, outside of the sports department, what have you. It became a community, really towards the end. I remember my freshman year was, a couple guys who like sports, broadcasted games together, went to the meetings together. And that was about it. And then it really became, once we started to go to the tournaments, where people started to get close and realize like, hey, we're hanging out together. We like the same thing. Before I was there, I don't know how much of that there was. I know the first year that I was there wasn't a whole lot of community there. But as soon as, your generation came in, and then, of course, the Nolan Rileys, the Kevin Wainers came in, it was just a bigger friendship. And, of course, we have the full group chat now that goes off 190 times a day, and I can't keep up with it.
Oh, I think I got kicked out.
Did you really?
Yeah, I think I said Michael Thomas is better than Leo Jones.
Oh, yeah, I
got the
recall
boot.
seeing that.
So, but no, you're right. Exactly. It's the big thing was that nobody was telling us what to do. And I think I didn't realize that until I started doing games with Stone a lot more, because because we always think of Stone as like the best of us. And he's a terrific broadcaster, but I would always be like, I'd ask him like, is this okay if I did that or this or that? And he's like, dude, just whatever you're going to say. And it's fine with me. Like, I don't care. And that was really big for me. Just the fact that, okay, like, don't get, because once you start thinking about what you're going to say, then it's all going downhill, because the more you think, you just get so caught up and you're just struggling. But once it was like the freedom is the biggest thing. And looking back, there's no other school I would have rather gone to get my experience and my start in broadcasting.
100%. If I were to go back in time, I'd choose the University of Rhode Island 11 times out of 10. Like it was the right decision in so many ways. And, the reality of it is, yes, maybe when you're at Syracuse, you get to get visits from Mike Tirico, a couple times, different guys who come in and have speeches and everything. But URI's doing that now too. Yeah. And the bottom line is, you get a degree and you get experience. You can do that anywhere.
Yep. And,
from my experience, it's not about where you get the degree from. It's about what you did at your time. My first job out of school was with the HatTricks. And in that interview, they were like, wow, you did all of this at school? That's impressive. Yeah. They weren't as focused on the GPA. They weren't as focused on the major. They weren't as focused on the academic plan. They saw what I did and they said, that's what we want.
Yeah. That's what I talked about with Kate Rogerson on her episode, was the fact that your school at the end of the day is a support system, and it can raise you up, but it can only take you so far, right? Because if you're just like, I'm going to go to Syracuse, and you just go through the motion, go through the Newhouse program and whatnot, then it's not going to do anything at the end of the day. But if you go to a school that maybe doesn't have the biggest name recognition, and like you did, grind and just put in all this work and do all this, it's going to look 1,000 times better. And again, nobody's gonna say, oh, you went to the University of Rhode Island, you can leave now. Like that's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, like URI was, it's, maybe at the start of it, it wasn't the best. It wasn't where we thought we wanted to be, but we're 18-year-old kids. And at the end of the day, there's nothing better than calling a game with Tyler Cruz.
Wait till he says, oh my God, he sucks on air. I remember the first game that I was involved with Tyler Cruz, and I wasn't actually on the call with him. I was studioing him, so I was essentially the producer operating the board. And I remember for some reason there must have been a board meeting or something, but Ben Kinch was in there with me, and one or two other board members. We were all just hanging out while I was operating the board. Mm-hmm. And the game had come to a close. It was a URI women's basketball game on a year where they were struggling big time. And at the end of the game, Cruz, on his first call ever, I will never forget this. He goes, "That was a hell of a game." And Ben Kinch turns to me and goes, "Did he just say that?" And I was like, I don't think it was that bad, but I mean, he did say that was a hell of a game on the air.
Yeah, that was again, you got freedom. I mean,
Yeah.
that was his thing, was whenever, I mean, not just him, a couple kids, especially freshmen, they would look to me like immediately as they said something like, "Oh my God, can I say that?" I'm like, dude, like, I'm not your parents, or I'm not in charge of you. Like, do what you want. Just as long as you don't curse, say whatever you want. Nobody's coming for you.
Don't be, ignorant about what you say. Don't say bad words, and you'll be fine. Like,
that was really like because I remember, I think Stone held his meeting, and he's like, "I'm not gonna give you a list of things you can say. Just don't be an idiot. Literally, just think for a second." And so like, I mean, we could go on and on, but I just think back to it, and it's just like, it was literally just like the perfect blend of the fact that there's Division I sports and they're exciting and they're well known, but then we had the freedom to do whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
And you, me, Nikki, Kate, everyone, Cruz, we really were just the first ones to say, how far can we take this thing and how well can we do it? And it was just the support that we got from both the Harrington School and the athletic department was incredible, and forever grateful for my time in Kingston.
Absolutely, man. That was well said.
Thank you. I say a couple of things well sometimes. But we talked about it a little bit. Was when we both interned in the NECBL. Summer of 2018, the Danbury Westerners. That was, I mean, say what you will about the NECBL. And I'm sure any college summer league, it's fun. It really is, because, I mean, baseball in the summer you can't beat it. Going to the ballpark, even if it is Rogers Park, you can't. It's fun, and like you said, the experiences that you get is irreplaceable.
It is, and I think that I spent 2 summers with the Danbury Westerners. I was the public address announcer in 2017, and I did a couple of broadcasts, and then I was the lead broadcaster in 2018. And it's not so much I broadcasted every day. That's just another thing that you can add to better yourself. Mm-hmm. But it was about being with a team. When you're working with a college radio station, you're kind of somewhat involved in the football team and the basketball team and the soccer team and the baseball team. But it's not, you're there every day. You're at the practices. You're talking to the players. That's where that experience really came in. It was like going from a network job to a team job where you're just responsible for one team, and obviously not to a huge scale, but that was a good experience in that I talked with Josh Perro every single day about lineups, about decisions. We had a pregame show where he would just talk to me about what they're expecting from the game, what he decides to do, this, that, and the other thing, how he responded from last game, all of those things together. And you're put with, probably we had 15 interns who all have the same interests. And that was, get experience, learn, and decide whether or not this is something that I want to do moving forward. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had a press box that was funny, that was enthusiastic, that all really loved what they were doing. they all had a specific job, and they wanted to, whether they were at the beginning stages of their career, like a high schooler who was our videographer, or or was me as a junior trying to cap off, my final summer in between 2 school years. It was everything in between, just getting experience, so remarkable, so much fun.
Yeah.
It's a tough stretch because you have to do, I think we did 40 games in like 48 days or something crazy like that. Double headers, overnights. A couple times we had a team drive down to the field and there was a hole in the middle of center field. It was the worst rain of the summer, of any summer I had seen, and we had multiple games canceled at the end of the season. But the whole thing together was just awesome. It was awesome seeing all the players from different colleges, different backgrounds. It really is a remarkable, remarkable thing to do in your summer.
And
it's a grind, but it's fun.
That's the thing is if at the end of the summer, because it is a grind, but if you can say and you can look back that you had fun, then I think that it's an indicator, especially early on, that maybe you could do this for a career, because whatever career that you go into, it's going to be a grind. But if you can, at the end of the day, at the end of the week or whatever, just look back and be like, that was fun, then I think it's a well worth career for you. And like you said, that press box was just, it's just fun because, like you said, we're all passionate about what we wanted to do. And the fact that we got to be around that team, there were some, like you said, you're going to meet people that you never would have crossed paths with before. And I remember just literally nothing but good things from the NECBL, especially was when I had to fill in for you one time. It was rough. Not because I was going into my junior year, so I wasn't obviously wasn't as good now, but it was just like, I don't even know how to say. It was literally just like a wild broadcast. I was stumbling all over the place. I don't keep score too when I do baseball games. I try like the first 3 innings and then I lose it. I'm working on it, but
that's like rule number 1. If you were to score one sport, it would be baseball.
Oh yeah,
because you could keep track of points and stats so easily in other sports. Baseball, you need to be on it.
Yeah, but I remember it was a Mystic. I'm not even gonna say the name because I always mess
Schooners.
Schooners. Every time. The Mystic Schooners, we played them, and literally at the end of the broadcast, it's like, oh, that was a decent one. And their team owner was like, I really liked you on the broadcast, and I was like, yes. But no, it literally is. There's no other, because even if you, like I said, the New Orleans Collegiate Baseball League, I messed up a kid's name as he ran out into the outfield. Literally, the mistakes I made on PA were unbelievable, but that's the thing about it is you're allowed to mess up, and that's the place to do it. And you're going to mess up no matter who you are.
Absolutely. Again, another learning experience. And I think what I will give the Westerners credit for, and I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for everyone involved at that organization for giving me, 2 really great summers and the opportunity to work with that team and be a part of their media team. And their support system is fantastic. They're the longest running NECBL team in the league. They've been doing it for over 26 years. Unfortunately, they won't do it this summer because the season was canceled. But they have a dedicated group of people who are passionate about the program. They're passionate about the interns and giving not only the players an opportunity to grow, but the people working for them an opportunity to grow. As much as, it's about the players and how well they do and how well they perform, it's about all these other people that are involved that make a Westerners game or another NECBL game possible. Newport has it down to a T. They have a full broadcast center, and they have tons of broadcast interns that work for them. Our colleague Joe De Leon was an intern with them. He worked with them. He did sideline reporting with them, a couple of color games as well. The NECBL has a good support system for those looking to grow in their field. And the teams that are successful, like the Gulls, like the Schooners even, like the Westerners, they have people dedicated to making you and supporting you in your attempt to get better as not only a broadcaster or a game day marketer, as a person.
Mm-hmm. We even learned how to deal with hecklers who
Yeah.
don't like how the press box works.
So that gentleman is a season ticket holder for the Danbury HatTricks as well.
Oh, is he?
Incredible guy.
Yep.
He just was not happy that the speakers were loud. So he would come up to the press box and reprimand poor Jacob, who's just doing his job. And we would always just say, we got it, man. We got it. But Pat, he's a nice guy once you get to know him.
Oh,
he
sure.
really is. He really is. Like he came down to us. He'll talk to us. And but yeah, that's one of the experiences that you'll get. Our fans upset with the volume level. You'll get that anywhere.
I mean, even that, you even get to see future Major League Baseball players, which isn't a bad deal.
Yeah.
Not bad.
We were like very close to seeing Eddie McCabe getting drafted, which I'm still upset about. I think that in a larger draft year,
mm-hmm.
where we're not having 5 rounds, where we have the normal 40, Eddie McCabe gets drafted.
He is, I think, even from, not that like we're scouts or anything, that's how good his talent was. That summer 2 years ago, I think when he was going to be a sophomore, he was that good. And literally his first game in the Cape Cod League, he hits a triple, and none of us were surprised. We're like, yeah, that seems about right. Yeah, he's unreal.
He just had a way about his game, calm, cool, and collected. He reminded me in so many ways of Jeter, and I'm not going to give him the comparison that was as good as Jeter, because that's unbelievable, but just the way he carried himself, the way he presented himself, he wasn't trying to swing for the fences. He wasn't the type of guy that's going to be flashy and, walk around with a swagger. He was, much more reserved, was funny, was a great guy, had a great personality, but played the game in a very good way.
Yeah.
And, I mean, his stats jump out at you. He's a great leadoff 2-hitter. And, one of the players, I mean, there were a couple of guys that year who really stood out, but Eddie just had this way about him, this presence. He was a really, really cool guy to watch play the game. And, again, never would have guessed that I crossed paths with a potential future MLB player from Georgetown while I'm broadcasting games, at Rogers Park in Danbury. Doesn't really cross your mind, but it happens.
Oh, yeah. And just hit me with your favorite story from the 2018 Westerners.
You're going to laugh at this. This is towards the end of the season. I can't remember if we were out of the playoff hunt by then or if we were just like on the cusp of it and everyone kind of had the feeling that it was going to be a tough uphill battle.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the guys were a little bit more relaxed, kind of saying like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We had fun. And Braden Combs, one of the first basemen, was chilling up in the press box with us. Incredible character. One time he walked on the bus with 10 tins of chew at one time. He was like, what? They were on sale for $5. So he got 10 of them. So fantastic guy. The guys are warming up. It's about an hour and a half before game time. And he just takes the microphone and he goes, now batting for the Danbury Westerners, number 12, Jesus Christ. Everyone was like, what? And it was Eddie. He was talking about Eddie McCabe. And everyone was just like, where did that come from? And it was just one of those funny moments that it was such a small piece, but knowing those guys, knowing their sense of humor after that long of a season, you just have to like cover your face and laugh about it because it was so funny. And it was, we quote that still to this day. Now batting, Jesus Christ. And it's just like, what does that even mean?
The funny, because I remember that, is he went up there and I would think I was just writing the lineups down and he's like, can I speak into that mic? And I was like, yeah, why not? I was like, here you go. And he just goes all the way from Jerusalem.
Oh, that's what I missed. Yeah.
He died for our sins. Number 12. and it's just like you just can't make. It's incredible the fun that was had in the NECBL, and that was just our league, our team, and I'm sure that everyone who's worked there could say something great about their experience.
Baseball players are some fun people with some weird personalities. I mean, we had Jake Frasca,
Oh
whose
yeah,
nickname was literally Weird Guy.
yeah. Hell of a third baseman though.
A great third baseman, really awesome player, great guy. But it's guys like him and guys like Braden who just have fun with it, are themselves, are great. And again, just meeting those people, making those friendships, can't replace that.
No. And I mean, even to this day, like we still talk in our group chat for the press box. So it's just experiences that, you can't replace. And I encourage everyone, if you're interested, just go check out your local NECBL team or any collegiate summer league, because it'll be well worth your time.
And they do a good job too. In case you're, away from the area, they have host families, and the host families do take in interns as well.
Yeah.
They're these people who basically open up their houses to baseball players and interns who are coming in. I know the Cape does it all the time. Guys go up to the Cape and live with host families. It's such a valuable opportunity to work, in the NECBL or at the Cape League, even the upstate New York leagues. There are so many great opportunities in baseball. And I know right now is not the prime time to get involved just because the opportunities might be slimmer. But if you do have the opportunity to go out and try it, absolutely do it 100%. Tom Porter told me to do it. And that was the best suggestion I had in terms of getting an internship, was him saying, look into the NECBL, because that's the way to go.
We should, I'm going to request a payment from the NECBL for that plug. No, we'll switch gears now, I guess, to the other team in Danbury that you worked for this past year. The Danbury HatTricks, of course, home at Danbury Ice Arena. So before the world went to hell, what was that experience like, getting able to, I know hockey's your favorite sport, so what was that like to be able to get back on the mic?
Man, it was incredible. To do it in a professional standpoint, to do it in a setting where your job is that team and that organization. From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, like, your job is that team. And that's a good thing. That's not like overwhelming by any means. I interviewed for a position as a color commentator for both the minor league team, the HatTricks, and the Colonials, which was a junior hockey team. They're in a very really good position, I will say, that they have now 3 teams under their official ownership group. So they have a junior team at the AHL level, which is tier 2 junior hockey, and then tier 3 junior hockey. We didn't have the tier 2 last year. And of course the HatTricks. So the play-by-play positions for both teams are already filled. And they said, well, we could offer you, a color position on each team and also be involved in our ticket sales. And I said, of course, I would love to do that. I want to get involved with the team. This is right in my backyard. I used to go to this building for different teams like the Trashers and the Whalers. Yeah. Hockey in Danbury has always been a huge scene, a huge following. I said this would be, a great place for me to start my career. So I took the ticket sales job. I was named the director of ticket sales. So my 9 to 5, if you will, was selling season tickets, group packages. I was a little involved with the sponsorships, all of these things kind of that build up to your Friday and Saturday night games. And then working those games, I would oversee the ticket operations. And then at 7:00, I would go up to the booth and broadcast with the guys. And it was just like, there were some Fridays and Saturdays where I'd work 13 hours in a day, 14 hours. Back-to-backs, and it wasn't work because I was doing something that I loved so much. I was, preparing for the game and doing that. It was just a really good way to start my career. And it sucks that the season ended so,
Yeah.
So quickly and so abruptly because we were doing so well.
Mm-hmm.
We had some games towards the end of the season. We were expecting, 2,000 plus at each game.
Wow.
We had some really good planned nights, and our team was first in the conference, and we were on a roll. But it was, that first year with the HatTricks, you can't compare it to anything. It was awesome. It was great. I learned so much from it on the business side and on the broadcasting side.
Mm-hmm.
It was all in all a fantastic experience.
So what was it like? I mean, I know we talked about it a little bit, but what was it like when, all of a sudden you don't have a season and you basically go from excitement to disappointment?
It was empty. It had an empty feeling when we finally had to say, the season was canceled. There was a Thursday, and we had just finished. Our last game of the season was actually our Danbury alumni night. We invited players and the owners, general managers from all the past teams in Danbury, and there was a ton of people. It was close to a sellout for us. It was our largest attended game. We had close to 2,700 people, and the arena seats tightly 3,000. And then that week, the murmurs and the buildup of the COVID crisis was kind of swarming us, and announcements from the governor, you can't have more than 200 people in a building. You can't have more than 100 people. It started to build up. And I remember Thursday, the 12th, I believe it was, the league made the tough decision to suspend for 2 weeks. And we were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. And funny enough, I didn't feel well that Thursday night. I called out of work on Friday, knowing that we weren't going to have a game, knowing that everything was on hold. It wasn't going to affect me. It wasn't COVID, by the way. It was just a normal head cold.
Gotcha.
Came back on Monday, and the season was canceled.
Yeah.
And they said that they were going to revisit and say, after 2 weeks, we'll revisit, we'll approach. And it was 3 days later where the league said we have to cancel. And it was just kind of like me and Casey. Casey's the play-by-play guy. We sit across from each other in the office, and we're just kind of like, I'm not doing any work. I sat there from 9 to 3, and I didn't get anything done because it was just like, what the heck is going on? And, about a couple hours into the day, one of our partners, our managing partners, the building, approached us and said, hey guys, just letting you know the season's canceled, and we have to effectively close down the building at the end of the day today. And we were just like, okay, so now we're not going to work.
Yeah.
And from there on, it was like, that's it. It was this great season, inaugural season, building up to this, big finish, the climax, if you will, of a big movie. And it was just like all of a sudden, boom, gone. It was the strangest feeling. And I don't know, I'm sure that my feeling is spread elsewhere for anybody working for a team, whether it's your 50th year working for a team or your first year working for a team. You're like, what the heck is going on? Because this has never happened before.
Exactly. I mean, that was, I've talked about it before, but that was exactly, the same thing that happened with us with Brooklyn. The fact that, you're looking forward to this and you're planning on it, especially with the way URI season was going. You're like, okay, but, they're in a little bit of a slump, but they'll turn around Brooklyn. And then the same thing happened of, oh, there's not going to be fans. Okay, what is that? And you're trying to process it. And before you finish processing, boom, no season. Okay, there's no tournament. Might be an NCAA, might be an NIT. And then just domino after domino kept falling. And it really was just like, before you could process what your news just hit, you got hit with another thing. And before you know it, you looked around and there was no more school year. There was no nothing. So, like you said, it goes for everybody who's working for a team, working for anything. It was just like a sharp knife just got dropped on everything.
It's the meme from Anchorman where he's just sitting there and he goes, boy, that escalated quickly, because it went from 0 to 100, and it's still really at 100. I mean, there's still so much uncertainty, still so many question marks, and it's like, wow, it's still tough to wrap your head around everything that happened.
Yeah, no, I think we're still at we're still escalated. And that's
Mhm.
I mean, that's the tricky part is as sports fans, I'm sure you feel the same way. We're excited to have um, all the sports come back, but at the same time, well, for me, there's like that pit in my stomach where like this isn't gonna go well, or like you just know that maybe in like it may be 2 days, 2 weeks, a month from now where it's gonna be we're just gonna get the same thing's gonna happen essentially.
It's Murphy's law. If
Yeah.
anything bad can happen, it will happen. We've seen a couple leagues now. The PGA has gone now for almost a couple months. They've been back at it. I think
Hmm.
6 weeks now.
Yeah.
NASCAR's back. They're starting to let fans into their races. We're going to see the startup of MLB on Thursday. We're going to see the startup of the NHL on August 1st. NHL training camps coming back. All this stuff is happening, and you almost wonder, yes, we have good precedents of leagues coming back and not big things happening, but you wonder if everything's starting to come back. People are
Yeah.
starting to get a little bit more antsy to get out of their houses. It's a cause for concern. I'm really worried about it. Obviously super happy to see baseball come back, super happy to see hockey come back, but it's worrying, to
Yeah.
see that there's still rising cases every single day. You just worry for, the security of the players, the safety, health of the team personnel. It's
Hmm.
a huge cause for concern.
Yeah. So if you do feel like you have to go out, please wear a mask, social distance.
Please wear a mask.
Um, I mean, though, I guess you could say the one positive out of COVID, Rangers made the playoffs.
Yeah, baby.
No
Yes, they
wonder,
did.
no wondering about that.
Oh, that's they're a good team, man. I won't
Yeah.
go on my soapbox for too long here, but they are a force to be reckoned with against a Carolina Hurricanes team who historically can't beat the Rangers if their lives depended on it. You have a three-headed monster in Henrik Lundqvist, Alexander Georgiev, and Igor Shesterkin. You have a Hart Trophy finalist in Artemi Panarin. You have the highest goal getter in minutes played on average in Mika Zibanejad. You have the rise in the savior, Capo Caco. All these different players, these different personalities, and head coach, Cranston native, David Quinn.
There you go.
That team's my dark horse, and it might be a little bit biased, but
Yeah.
they're
No,
gonna
I
be they're gonna be
mean,
a force to reckon with.
I just like I'm not the biggest hockey fan, but I've always watched Ranger playoff runs, and I've always kept one eye on them. But at the end of I mean January, February, like that team, it was just fun to watch. Just like the leg kick is incredible.
So much fun. He is the best. I love Artemi Panarin. He's so much fun. Zibanejad having a 5-goal game.
That was oh
Shesterkin's
my
first shutout, the overtime winner against the Islanders. Just all these things were building up at the end of the season. So
that 5 goal game. I watched that. That was like the one of the few games that I watched, and I was just like this is ridiculous. And it's not even like usually when you see people get because I looked into it, I was like usually when you see 5 goal games, the fifth one's like an empty netter or like it's already a blowout.
yeah,
But he literally was the overtime winner.
yeah,
It's a fun team, and yeah, they're dangerous.
they are. They are. And Zibanejad scores that 5th goal, and Sam Rosen's practically falling out of his chair. He can't contain his excitement. I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I'm gonna make sure that nobody bothers me
Yeah.
August 1st at 12 o'clock.
And then, I mean, I'd be remiss because we're both huge baseball fans and both big Yankee fans. To me, it doesn't feel like the season's starting in 2 days, but it is. And I mean, I get it, it's a 60-game season, but I look at this Yankees team and it's just like, this is going to be fun.
They're very deep. I think people forget that. They have the Gleyber Torreses and the Aaron Judge, and now they're signing up Garrett Cole. But people forget how deep the Yankees are. At first base, you have Luke Voit. If Luke Voit has any issues, you have no problem putting in Mike Ford, who is a Danbury Westerner alum.
Represent.
He is an absolute mammoth at the plate and plays a good first base. You have Tyler Wade, who is your stereotypical utility guy, can play anywhere.
Yep.
Miguel Andujar's back. People would forget that. He was ripping the ball on Saturday night. Gio Urshela is your 9-hitter and hit over 300 last year.
And arguably one of the best fielding third basemen in the league.
He is as smooth as can be. You get Aaron Hicks back healthy. You get Aaron Judge back healthy. Heck, Clint Frazier can be a force to be reckoned with. He had an absolute nuke on Saturday night with a mask on. The Yankees are deep. It doesn't guarantee them anything, but they're so very deep. Their bullpen is absolutely stacked to the brim. Yep. You have Chapman, who's dealing with COVID, but he'll be back healthy. You have Zach Britton. You have Tommy Kahnle, who's unbelievable. Chad Green, who's unbelievable. And I'm missing one more. Adam Ottavino, another Westerners alum, who throws one of the nastiest sliders in the game.
Yeah. You forgot one, their best player. Brett Gardner, baby.
Oh, Brett Gardner. He is the quintessential grinder on a baseball game. Will take the most pitches out of anyone. There's no room in the outfield to put anyone. I think that the Yankees have a very good chance at winning the AL East this year. They're going to be competed against heavily by the Rays, and I think the Blue Jays will probably make some noise if they could find a place to play.
Yeah.
Yep. I have concerns about the Red Sox, especially their rotation. I don't think that they're deep enough there to survive this season. With Sale with his injury and Price being gone, and Eduardo Rodriguez has to come back from COVID now. But I do think that the Yankees have a very good shot at the AL East.
Brett Gardner they showed his first hit. He looked old when he got his first career hit. He hasn't changed in 12 years.
He has been 35 years old for 50 years. Like that's what Brett Gardner is like, man.
And he'll be here longer than Torres. So.
Oh yeah.
All right, last part, fast break time. Obviously, the fast break was invented in Rodman Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful building. It's 1,000 degrees. Okay. You ready?
Yes.
Favorite thing about Rhode Island?
The beaches.
Favorite meal?
Tacos.
Favorite movie of all time?
The Dark Knight.
Favorite athlete of all time?
This was not as fast break as I like to say. Russell Wilson.
Nice. Favorite aspect of a broadcast?
Always the fact that something crazy can happen and you never know what's going to happen.
Favorite Eminem song?
Rain Man.
Best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
I recently got this advice from one of the CBS broadcasters, Andrew Catalan. I spoke with him, and he said, keep going. Just keep going. And it's one of those things, especially nowadays, it's like, what the heck am I supposed to do with everything going on? And it's just whatever you can do, just keep going with it. And I think I paraphrased a little bit, but in essence, that's what he said. He just said, keep going, keep doing it. And that, I think that applies to anyone and everyone in what they do.
Favorite game you've ever broadcasted?
I would say I was the host of the NCAA tournament game against Oklahoma, where Jared Terrell hit an absolute moonshot from the half court, and Fats Russell dominated now NBAer Trae Young, and the Rams beat the Oklahoma Sooners in the NCAA tournament in overtime in the round of 64.
Beautiful. HatTricks or Westerners?
HatTricks.
Any pre-broadcast ritual that you have to do?
I usually just drink some water. Sometimes I like to throw on some music to get me zoned in. That's usually a couple hours before. Usually like walking into the arena, walking into the field, whatever it might be. I'll have my AirPods in, just listening to some pump-up music.
Favorite WRIU memory?
Tyler Cruz.
Just Tyler Cruz.
He said his favorite member, he said it was me, and I feel the same way.
Oh, right.
We really bonded in Brooklyn over some unbelievable street tacos, like just down the block from the Barclays Center. And again, favorite part of the broadcast, you never know what's going to happen. Favorite part of Tyler Cruz, you never know what he's going to do or say.
That's true. That is true. I remember that game too. I think that was the game that they got eliminated on. And all of a sudden I look at Stone and I'm just like, where did they go? And we just have no idea. And they're like, oh, we're down the street. We're getting tacos. And Cruz is like, I've been looking at this place since we got here. And yeah, Cruz is he's something else.
A bite to eat, and it was like, what are we just going to sit here and pout the whole time, or no? Well, that was fun.
Well, appreciate you taking the time, Jack. I'll let you take the time to plug your show that people can go listen to you on.
Yeah, absolutely. So I host the Captain Jack Show, which is the schedule needs to be updated because I've had some stuff come up, so I kind of have to figure out the schedule. But we broadcast on Twitch.tv. It is under the handle CPT, abbreviated Captain _ Omerica. And I'll tweet it out if you want to retweet that.
Yeah, so of course.
Can find that.
I will make sure people know where to find you.
But yeah, we have some fun guests on. I'm working on getting a really big former NHL guest on the show. And we talk about sports. We have some fun. I play some video games sometimes. It's a lot of fun.
Go check him out. I'll plug his Twitter underneath his show. Nobody else better to listen to. Jack, appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you having me on.